You are now tuning into the Resilient Podcast. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Resilient Podcast. Today is episode 36, and I have a very special friend here with me today. It's overdue. When I started this podcast, one of the first people that I thought about interviewing was him exactly, and I finally got him on the show today. This is a good friend of mine. His name is Justin. Justin's from the Pennsylvania area, and he also goes by the name the Ballard Club Guy. So a few years ago, I want to say I've known Justin maybe for about 6 years, 7 years, maybe a little longer than that.
Yeah.
Justin and I connected through the world of professional wrestling. You know, Justin and I are very big fans of the WWE, and I'm just, thankful to have Justin as a friend. You know, Justin and I have been through so much resilience, and, one of the best moments that I had with Justin was last year when we went to Atlanta for a show called Bad Blood. And of course, this year when we went to WrestleMania in Las Vegas.
Mhm.
So, I'm pretty sure Justin and I will definitely be in Las Vegas again next year for WrestleMania 42.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Justin, thank you, first of all, for being on this podcast.
Well, thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. Today we're going to talk about something that has a lot to do with you, which is fate.
Mm.
And, I have a few questions to ask you.
Yeah.
So, it is the month of July, and, we're here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, doing this podcast. It's the first time I do a podcast for the Resilient Podcast in Pennsylvania. So I'm excited about that. And with any further ado, Justin, can you give us a little bit of, who you are, where you're from?
Yeah. So, Justin Jones is my real name. Most people know me as the Ballard Club Guy. Originally from Portsmouth, Virginia. Well, born in Norfolk. Lived in Portsmouth for a while. Then moved to Port Jervis, New York. I was there for about 12 years, 15 years. Now I live in Pennsylvania, the Milford area. Pretty average guy, I work retail, surprise, work at Walmart. Gonna be 35 next month. And man, I love pro wrestling, man. Ever since I was like 5 years old, just love it. It's good stuff.
Yeah. So for those of you that watch, like, the stuff that I post on social media, obviously, if you follow me on my personal account, Rob Aurelius, you'll see some stuff that I've shared with Justin over the years, photos together at WWE shows. Justin and I recently did a video that a lot of people thought was very funny, where we were actually in Vegas drinking real American beer, and I was kind of trolling Hulk Hogan. I had a few friends reach out to me. It's funny, I actually had somebody from WWE reach out to me like, hey man, you got to be careful with those kind of plugs because, even though we love Stone Cold Steve Austin, Real American Beer is one of our sponsors. So you got to be careful how you address our sponsors. And I was like, I apologize, but I was just trying to have fun. Overall, it was a great beer, right, Justin?
Great beer.
It was a great beer. It was very light.
Yeah.
It's one of the lightest beers that I've ever had. And I'm not really a beer guy. I'm more of a tequila guy, Terramana. Justin and I both love Terramana. If I'm not mistaken, I think Justin's first bottles of Terramana was actually given to him by me, So we also love Wheatley vodka as well,
Wheatley's
too.
good, yeah.
Wheatley's a very good vodka. Justin and I like to drink. We like to drink quality stuff.
Yeah.
So, Justin, today I wanted to ask you a little bit about, when I spoke to you about doing this episode with you,
Mhm.
I asked you what was your favorite word, and you told me your favorite word was the word fate.
Yes.
So I'm gonna ask you a few questions about fate.
Okay.
So my first question to you is, do you ever think about one small decision, like going to a wrestling event or making a single post on social media, led you to where you are today? Do you believe these moments were your fate?
Yeah. So, um, as I said, I go by the Battle Club guy on Twitter. I think it was 2016 when Finn Balor came into NXT. I was at work and my friend said, "Oh, this guy named Prince Devitt's coming to WWE." I was like, "Oh, that sounds cool." So I look him up online. I'm like, "Man, this guy's pretty cool." Like he dresses up as like Joker and Venom, and then I would always see like guys front row, right?
Mm.
And they have these like cool personas. Like you got green shirt guy,
Oh, that guy, Smiley.
Smiley. You got like I'm good friends with Mike, Brock Lesnar guy. I see all these
Yeah.
cool, and I'm like, man, that's really cool. Like that's like their wrestling gimmick. So my one buddy at work was like, you should come up with a gimmick. And I'm like, well, Finn Balor's cool, So I said, I'm gonna be the Balor Club guy. So I got shirts made. I've had this mask for forever, the armbands forever, and
Is that a WWE mask?
this is a WWE branded mask.
Okay.
Yep. And so I made the Battle Club guy persona on Twitter, Instagram. I drove from Port Jervis, New York, all the way. It's funny, to Pittsburgh.
Wow.
I think up the road. I think it's called. I don't know if it's not. It's one of these small, like I think they do concerts there.
Mhm.
There was an NXT show there.
Wow.
Freezing cold. I'm standing outside. I have a sign that says the Battle Club guy, like a poster. I made a poster.
Nice.
Standing outside, freezing cold, and we get inside. And back then, for NXT, you bought a ticket. It was general admission. You could say whatever you want. First come, first serve. So I got the ramp seat right by his little small setup, like on a concert stage, and the ring was in the middle, like where they do the pit. And Finn Balor comes out. He actually comes up to me. We do the 2 Sweet. He has his match. He retains his NXT title because he was NXT champion for, I think, his longest reigning NXT champion.
Yeah.
After the match, I'm holding up the poster, and he comes up to me and he says, "Hey, man, I just want to say I really appreciate all your support. I see all your tweets and stuff." And like ever since then, it's just like me and Finn Balor, we've always had this connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
So every show I would go to, I'd have the Battle Club guy sign. I was at SummerSlam 2016, 15, 16, when he won the Universal Championship. With Seth Rollins. You can actually see me in the WWE documentary. I'm holding up my sign after he won.
Yeah, so Justin actually has a few cameos in WWE documentaries and WWE promo videos.
Yeah, so I think just going to that show in Pittsburgh, that was fate to where I am now, as far as my relationship with Finn Balor.
Okay.
Because a lot of people, I don't know if they know, but like me and Finn Balor were friends.
Yeah.
He follows me on Twitter. We DM each other, and he's a great guy.
Yeah.
So I think that going to that Pittsburgh show was fate to bring me to where I am today.
Very nice. I mean, it's crazy how I feel like this is a full circle moment for you, because I had no idea that, you came to Pittsburgh to see him.
Yeah.
And, it's not like I knew this is where he came and I was like, let's do this show here. So sometimes you do things that you don't even realize.
Yeah.
So like my experience with Finn Balor, sometimes I call him Fergal, sometimes I call him Finn.
Yeah.
Shout out to Smiley, because we mentioned Smiley, we mentioned Brock Lesnar guy Mike. Never thought these guys would be shouted out on the Resilient podcast, but here they being shouted out. These are some of our close friends.
Yeah.
And also shout out to Finn Balor, of course. So how I got connected with Finn was I met him in Brooklyn. It was a SummerSlam where I told you that we were at the Brooklyn bar.
Yes.
And he had just had a match. I don't know if it was actually with Bray Wyatt, but I remember it was him and Bray Wyatt. They were together. Finn still had that Demon King, a little bit of the makeup on still from, he didn't fully clean his face. And we were at the bar having a good time. And he was such a sweet guy. And overall, we had a drink together.
Mm-hmm.
We got a photo together.
Yep.
Actually, my friend Megaran was with us.
Nice.
So I think Finn is actually doing the 2 Sweet. And, I told him, hey, man, I saw this line that you've been promoting called Peak. And, it's funny. He says to me, oh, that's actually my line.
Yes, his clothing.
And I didn't know that was his clothing line. And, next thing you know, I got a care package. Well, several care packages.
Yeah.
And I promoted, this is when I was a little slimmer. And this is pre-COVID. And I wore a lot of Peak stuff. And, they would retweet it. They would share it on their social media. It's called smileitspeak.com. I think it is the website.
Yeah, I have one of the shirts.
Good stuff. And overall, like Finn, Very good dude. Very, very nice person. I'm glad that he finally, over the years, was able to finally, like, acknowledge Justin for who he is, not just a super fan,
Yeah.
but like, actually build a bond with Justin. I mean, if it wasn't for Finn Balor, we would never have a Balor Club guy, right?
Yeah.
So, we have a Balor Club guy because of Finn Balor. So it's
That's
a
right.
beautiful thing. And Justin's one of the coolest wrestling people out there, wrestling fans out there that I personally consider you a friend. We
Yeah.
talk to each other all the time.
Yep.
We reach out to each other for example, shows like this, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there was a show coming up in Pittsburgh, so we actually reached out to each other about it. And like I said, I've been to different cities with Justin. I've been to Texas with Justin.
Yep.
I've been to Las
Yep.
Vegas twice.
Yep.
I've been to Florida with Justin.
Yep.
I've been to Philly with Justin.
Yeah.
And the list goes on. Louisiana too,
Louisiana.
right? So
Yep.
I was like, so the list goes on and on and on. Justin and I are gonna go to a lot of cities together. So I'm glad again to have you on the show. I'm glad that this whole Ballad Club guy thing is part of your journey with Fate. So my second question to you is, when was the last time life threw something unexpected, and how did you bounce back from it? Like, did you think it was resilience or fate that got you that got you through it?
Well, we're gonna get a little deep, a little personal.
No problem. This is the Resilience Podcast,
So I was with my ex-girlfriend for 3 years.
Yeah.
And everything was going great.
Yeah.
Great. We lived together. Everything was good. And I know, like, no relationship's perfect, right?
Of
We're
course.
humans. I'm not perfect.
Of course.
So I think it was like New Year's 2023? 2023. And the ball drops, we kiss, everything was good. Same week, just out of nowhere. She said, I think I want to leave to go to like college or something. And I'm like, okay.
Probably
do college online.
Probably one of our New Year resolutions.
Yeah, you can do college online. I support you, whatever you do. But she was very adamant on I want to do it in classes. I'm like, okay, well, we can figure it out. And sometimes when you live, full disclosure, I live with my parents because stuff's expensive. So sometimes when you live with in-laws, everyone's not going to get along.
Of course.
Wake up in a bad mood someday.
Yeah.
So words were said between her and my mom, and next minute was, I'm leaving. So that was hard. That was hard. And, she was with me through a lot of, like you brought up Finn acknowledging me, like he wished me happy birthday.
Of course.
I remember waking up that morning. I was so happy.
I remember
so
that
happy.
Yeah.
I told her, I was like, look, Finn wished me happy birthday on Twitter. I didn't ask him. He just wished me.
Yeah.
And every year he wishes me happy birthday.
Yeah.
So that was rough when we separated.
Yeah.
So you say, and I think I bounced back pretty well because after we separated, fast forward to my birthday, not only does Finn Balor follow me on Twitter, DMs me on Twitter.
Okay.
Happy birthday, man. Hope you're doing good. So that really helped a lot. That helped me bounce back. Now, was it fate or resilience? I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
I think it's both, but if that makes sense, because I had to be resilient for myself to get myself through the dark.
Right.
After the breakup. And I think it was fate because I've always had Finn there. And so I think everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason. We separated, but now here you go. You got Finn Balor. He follows me on Twitter. We DM each other. I got good things going on at work. I got a brand new car. So I think that's fate too, right?
Right.
And then the resilient part, you gotta be resilient to push through the bad. So I think it's a little bit of both, honestly, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
So
And Justin, that I was very supportive of that relationship.
Yes,
because
you were.
I met your ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Because of you, obviously, and we went to WWE
Yes,
shows together,
yeah.
and I was always happy for you guys.
Yeah.
I remember when you shared the story of you guys breaking up, it really broke my heart. And I remember saying to you, like, hey, Justin, like, I'm sure you guys are gonna get back together. And I know at one point you probably felt like it was gonna happen, but then you just let things be for what they are. And I know it's been some time now. And it's crazy because I created this podcast because of an ex-girlfriend.
Yes.
I started this podcast last year. before WrestleMania 40 kicked in.
Yeah.
And you know the story.
I know.
WrestleMania 40 was so emotional for me because one, Cody Rhodes,
Yep.
we knew he was going to finish the
Yeah,
story.
finish story. Yep.
Also, The Rock had just came back to wrestling, and
Yeah.
Rock was making wrestling cool, like you
Yeah,
said, right?
yeah.
Pro wrestling was cool again.
Yep.
And I wanted to take her to that WrestleMania because she's from Philly. And it's a similar situation like you said, New Year's,
Yep.
something just happened.
Just happened. Yep.
So, my situation was, it was a little bit after Christmas that there was something that was said. I
Yeah.
said something to her like, hey, Christmas is great.
Yeah.
But there's a few things that have been bothering me about your attitude.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, first thing is like when you love somebody, you're willing to take accountability and be like,
Yeah.
well, I'm sorry that I made you feel that way.
Yeah.
How can I make things better? But it wasn't like that for me. So actually, after that conversation, New Year's comes, we have a full conversation. This was actually last year,
Yeah.
New Year's last year for 2024. And, New Year's kicks off. We were on the phone before the ball dropped. The ball drops. First time I've ever prayed with a significant other on the phone.
Yeah.
On New Year's especially. So we were actually not together physically because after we had that conversation after Christmas, her words were, well, I just want to spend New Year's alone, in my new apartment that I had just helped her move into. And I was like, well, we have plans for New Year's. And she's like, no, I just want to be by myself with my dog.
Yeah.
And then I tried to go over there to spend it because we were actually going to spend New Year's in Jersey.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, what if I go to Philly and I spend New Year's with you? And her response was, no, I don't want nobody in my face.
Yeah.
So that was like the initial beginning of her. I mean, I don't want to say it like this, but it's like, instead of her taking accountability for what I spoke to her about, what I confronted her about, she put it like, the way she handled the situation was like, well, I'm going to punish him now.
Yeah.
I mean, I hurt him
Yeah.
with some of the things that I do. And instead of apologizing, I'm just going to make it worse and I'm going to hurt him.
Yeah.
And again, this is not to try to make it sound like she's a bad person.
No.
But fast forward, New Year's comes, I do the prayer. And in the prayer, I remember her saying, like, is there anything you want to say? And she says, no. And I noticed the awkwardness.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, look, I just hope 2024 is a better year for us.
Yeah.
We had just started dating in 2023.
Yeah.
And, it's after like New Year's, maybe like towards the end of January, where she finally talks about a career change that she wants.
Yep.
And, we didn't break up till March, right?
Yeah.
So from January to February to March, I saw the relationship just go down.
Yeah.
So at least with you, it's like, your ex-girlfriend reacted really quick with it and was like, look, I want to leave, and she left.
Yep.
With my ex-girlfriend, it dragged.
Yeah.
And I had to see that. And then,
Dragged
my
worse,
hopes were that by the time WrestleMania 40 came,
Yeah.
that she was going to be able to attend WrestleMania for the first time.
Yeah.
And that wasn't able to happen. So you remember last year, Justin,
I remember
how
it.
depressed I was.
Yeah.
Going into Philly.
Yeah.
And, we actually held each other down. I held you down, you held me down. I mean, it wasn't the easiest time of the year for us.
It wasn't.
But, WrestleMania was WrestleMania season, and it made us, a little happier. But I remember, you was down, I was down.
Yeah.
And we handled it as best as we could because we were being resilient.
That's it.
So, that's one of the things that Justin and I both bonded over was that, like, hey, we lost like the two women that we thought we possibly were going to marry someday.
Yeah.
But, we had to be resilient.
You gotta be.
And again, it had a lot to do with resilience and faith.
Yep.
So, my next question to you, Justin, is, have you ever felt like fate failed you? Like something you really wanted just wasn't meant to be? And how did you process that?
Well, not to harp on it, but I would say my ex-relationship. I kind of feel like fate failed me because when you meet that one person and you're like, man, that's what I've been waiting for. And you have it for only 3 years, but it feels like you have it for 10 years.
Yeah.
And then it's just gone. Like
Just
that, poof,
Just
gone.
like that. Yeah.
Everything. I feel like fate failed me there. I processed it at first. It didn't hit me at first. Didn't hit me at first because it was so quick.
Yeah.
Then I guess I was sad, angry. But then, WrestleMania 40, just, as corny as it sounds, WrestleMania 40 was one of the best weekends I ever had.
Yeah.
Because that was the first time I actually was able to hang out with Finn Balor and you could say like non-wrestling setting, like
Yeah.
wrestling setting, but you know, it was
I
at a
remember
restaurant.
he was sitting right next to us at the
Yeah,
restaurant.
he was sitting with us at
And
the restaurant, you know,
yeah,
and just Finn Balor saying, just hugging me
yeah,
and telling me that, you know, he loved me and appreciated me. He introduced me to his wife. You know, that really helped. Because
that's
that
good.
said, you know what? As crappy as it was that I lost my ex, just being in the situation I am, it's like, man, I gotta keep going
Yeah,
because of Finn Balor.
yeah,
Because if I don't, then I let Finn Balor down. I let you down, let my friends down that care about me, my parents. So I feel like I processed it very good. I think, you know, go back to that word resilient. I think I was resilient through that process.
So, it seems like Finn Balor has really been very pivotal in like your whole journey.
Yeah.
So, I hope Finn eventually I'll do everything in my power to make sure Finn watches this episode so he
Yeah.
can see how much he means to you
Yeah.
and how he's helped you get through
Oh, he
stuff.
told me a lot.
Because, like when it came to the Resilient podcast, my next question actually has a word in it that has to do with this guy. And he's no stranger to you, Goldust.
Yeah.
When I started the Resilient podcast, one of the first people that I spoke to was Goldust about
Nice.
it. And I connected with Goldust because of, I know he goes by Dustin Rhodes now.
Yeah.
I respect that, but he's always gonna be Goldust to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I got close with Dustin because of Cody. And when I told him how much Cody meant to me,
Yeah.
because when Cody left WWE, I didn't really care much.
Yeah.
When
Understand.
Cody did his AEW thing, I was very happy for him.
Yeah.
Very, very happy for him.
Yeah.
And he came out with the American Rebel cigars.
Yep.
And what's so crazy is that, I don't want to take all the credit, but I was a little disruptor a few years ago, just like Cody uses the word disruptor.
Yeah.
There had never been a wrestler with his own cigar line.
Yep.
And Brooklyn Brawler, who
Yep.
you knew was a very good friend of mine.
Yeah.
At the time, we did a collaboration with one of my good friends, Donato, and we actually created the Hoboken Brawler cigar. You remember that?
Yes.
And after that, Cody comes out with American Rebel.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget because he was actually there.
Yep.
It was actually a big event.
Yep.
Cody was with the Young Bucks.
Yep.
And Brawler was there.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you and I saw each other at that big
I don't
event,
know.
but it was a big event from like maybe
Yeah.
2017
Yeah.
or something like that. And it's so funny. It's like Brawler's first big event because he had just left WWE. My boy Snitsky was there, and you just met Snitsky
Snitsky,
recently.
yeah.
And Brawler, you remember when Brawler Snitsky did the video where they're doing the hand grip, something like that?
Yeah.
So, anyways, Brawler goes to me in the middle of all of that. Hey, where's Cody's room? And I was like, why? He goes, because I want to give him something. So Brawler had some Brawler cigars that he was giving out to the friends, to the
Nice.
boys, Rakishi, all the guys. So we go into Cody's room. Cody's got a long line of people because it's Cody, the Young Bucks,
Yep.
Kenny Omega.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And I don't know if AEW had just started.
Okay.
I'm-
Might have
it-
been right before.
It may have been when AEW was announced.
Was announced maybe.
Like that it was gonna
Or, like,
come
right
out.
before. Yeah.
And mind you, I never even, I never saw this coming, right? This just
Yeah,
happened.
this
One
happened,
day
yeah.
we hear this big announcement. So, anyways, long story short, Brawler crashes the freaking thing,
Oh no.
goes in, all the fans are waiting, and he goes up to Cody Rhodes, and I'll never forget this, Justin. He literally smacks Cody in the chest
Oh,
with
no.
two of his cigars and goes, "Welcome to the cigar industry, buddy," or something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember like Cody looking at him and smiling. He goes, "Oh, Brawler." And then Cody looks at me and Cody goes, "Did you do this?"
You did this.
And and it's funny because that's how it kind of kicked off my friendship with Cody.
Yeah.
So that Cody and I connected through cigars.
Yeah. Very
know,
cool.
And I remember one time you actually gave Cody
I
cigars
did.
for me
I remember
because
that.
it was like a meet and greet.
I
I wasn't meeting Cody.
It was a big event.
Justin was. Yeah, that was another,
another
big event. And I remember Justin literally, I was like, hey, Justin, I'm not going to be able to see him because I was seeing Edge.
Yep.
It was Edge's last year. So I
Mhm.
wanted to take a picture with Edge.
Yep.
So long story short, I said, Justin, I'm probably not going to be able to see Cody. Because you remember that Cody
It was a long line.
Yeah, but they had Cody going back and forth.
Back and forth.
Like,
Upstairs,
one minute he's doing
downstairs,
photo
yep,
ops, the next minute he's
downstairs,
doing
yeah.
autographs.
It was like 5
And
hours.
Yeah, it's crazy. They kept sending them back
Yeah.
and forth. So I was like, Justin, whatever you do, just make sure you give these cigars to
I
Cody.
did.
And I remember Justin telling me, "Oh, I gave the cigars to Cody," and Cody goes, "Oh, I know, Rob."
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like one of the things about this whole wrestling thing, Justin, is that we grew up wrestling fans.
Yep.
We never in a million years thought we were going to be friends with some of these people.
No.
You never thought in a million years that you was going to be friends with Prince Devitt.
Nope.
Now you are.
Yeah.
I never thought in a million years that I would be friends with people like Titus O'Neil,
Yeah.
Stu Bennett,
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes,
Rhodes, yeah.
Goldust,
Yeah.
Ryback, all these guys, right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
And, when I was able to connect with Cody, it was one of the best times of my life.
Yeah, he's a
And
good
when I
guy.
created the Resilient Podcast, part of the seasoning, part of what made it was Cody being resilient.
Yeah.
Because not for nothing, Justin, we probably heard the word resilient 1,000 times in the past.
Yep.
Never really cared about it.
Yeah.
But last year, WWE used the word resilience a lot.
Yeah.
If you look at that WrestleMania match that Cody's having with Roman,
Yep.
Michael Cole literally says the word resilient
Nice.
in that match. And Michael Cole's, it's funny, like Diego, who works with ARCG Media and the Resilient Podcast and the Resilience Tribune, Diego told me, Michael Cole really uses the word resilience a lot.
Nice.
And the thing is, he's been using it for years.
But
We
now
just didn't care.
didn't know,
Yeah. So it was one of the things I told Goldust, and Goldust immediately followed the Resilience Tribune and the Resilient Podcast on social media.
Nice.
And I told him, you're one of the people that helped me, because Goldust goes by the word perseverance. He
Okay.
loves the word perseverance. He was an alcoholic, and
Yeah.
he's recovering addict for a long time.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Goldust's anniversary of being sober is always around my birthday.
Okay.
So I always remember, he'll say happy birthday to me, and the next thing you know, I'm sending him a message like, congratulations to another year being sober. So, it's crazy how much WWE influenced the Resilient Podcast. How WWE influenced, not just so much, because, ARCG Media, we just celebrated last month, 12 years in the business. And,
very good.
one of the biggest things that ARCG did was align with WWE. And I didn't really want WWE anywhere near the Resilient Podcast, because the Resilient Podcast was like my thing.
Yeah.
ARCG, I got partners, I got people that work with me, but Resilient Podcast was my thing.
That's your thing. Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I want WWE to be around it, but WWE somehow got surrounded by it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I look forward to the day that I can actually interview somebody from WWE on the
That'd be
podcast,
great.
because I've had people asking me already, like, hey, when are you gonna have a wrestler on? When are you gonna have Cody Rhodes on this podcast? I said, hopefully soon.
That'd be
So
great.
Justin, my next question to you is, let's talk about, we already know you're the Ballet Club guy. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about identity.
Yeah.
Do you think being the Ballet Club guy was something you were destined to become? Or did you create that fate for yourself out of passion and perseverance?
I would say I created it for myself out of
Okay.
passion and perseverance. And I think it's probably the coolest thing I've ever done, because I've met a lot of cool people. Met you. He's one of my best friends now, Henry. Met him at Walmart.
Shout out to Henry.
Shout out to Henry.
He goes by Hollywood Henry.
Hollywood Henry, that CM Punk guy. Yeah, Henry's great. Yeah, he's been with me through a lot. And I think I created it, with the perseverance, and I think it's the best thing I've done, to be honest. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Like I said, if you never was the Ballet Club guy, I don't think I would have never met you.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first came across Justin, we followed each other for a while first on social media.
Yeah.
And then it took like a while to meet Justin, because it was always like, Justin would miss me, I would miss Justin.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would be in and out, because sometimes I would be backstage at WWE shows. So I couldn't sit in the crowd with people.
Yeah.
So if I was backstage all night, when the show was over, that's it. I was headed back home, or probably going to the hotel to hang out with the boys and have a drink after the show. So when I finally when I finally met with Justin, I think one of the first things I asked Justin to do was, hey Justin, like, March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. Can you give me a strong arm selfie picture? And Justin did it in a heartbeat, just like that.
Yep.
And Justin's been very supportive. And also I remember, when Justin gave me a shout out for the Resilient Podcast, when Justin gave me a shout out for ARCG Media. So like I said, we've developed a good friendship after that. And like I said, man, like Justin just mentioned that he's been through a lot, and Henry knows some of the stuff he's been through. Before Henry was in the picture, I was there. And I saw a lot of the stuff that, Justin being picked on, people making fun of him, whatever. And I always stood up for him. And I always talk about that. I always talk about that. And people probably occasionally talk crap about me behind my back, and Justin had my back too.
Yeah.
But like, I remember there's like a group, and I'm not going to mention who it is.
Yeah, we won't.
But there was a group that, Justin would post something natural, like a simple question, like, hey, how much is parking at this arena? And the next thing you know, some of the guys are making sarcastic comments. And I'm like, why are you guys coming for this guy? Like this guy doesn't bother anybody. This guy doesn't pick on anybody. This guy's not a mark. He doesn't bother people. So I've always had Justin's back. And I've had people look at me and be like, oh my God, like this guy really means something to you, that you've actually had his back. I'm like, yeah, because that's what friends do.
Yeah. Exactly.
They always say, a real friend is somebody that protects your name in rooms that you're not in.
Yeah.
And I've done that.
Yes, you have.
I've been to places, I've been backstage where I've heard Justin's name come up, and maybe somebody said something, oh, that guy. And I'm like, yeah, that guy. The Ballet Club.
The Ballet Club.
And surprisingly, the way they will look at me and be like, oh, you guys are friends. I was like, you gotta protect people's names. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like you gotta have people's backs. And like I said, Justin's had my back.
Always.
I've had your back.
Yep.
So my next question to you is, when you look back at your lowest points,
Mhm.
what version of you survived those seasons? What did fate teach you about who you really are?
When I look back at lowest points, what version of myself? Well, I think, you know, let's say lowest point, the version of myself, it's not the version that I am now, because I would say the version the version of myself I used to be is a whole different person.
Yeah.
Like you probably wouldn't like that guy who I was before.
Mhm.
Wasn't the nicest guy before. But I think now the lowest points have created me into the version I am now, and I like this version. You
Mm.
know, I work great, work all the time. I make sure, like I said, I have my friends' backs. I make sure to check up on people.
Yeah.
So it's a totally different version now, sitting in this chair, than it was probably, I don't know, I'm gonna be 35, probably 20 some years ago. It's, I don't know how to really describe it, but this is a better version. This is the version I like. And I think,
I feel like you get cooler every year
right?
that goes by. Like I feel like you get more calmer,
Yeah.
more cooler.
Yeah.
Justin's always been a very chill guy, but
Yeah.
like I've noticed that as the years go by, people usually change,
Yeah.
sometimes for the good, sometimes for the
Yeah.
worse. But in your case, I feel like you get more civil, like more
Yeah.
calm, more relaxed. Like you want more peace in your life.
Yeah.
Like you don't like the drama, you don't entertain the shenanigans.
No, yeah.
And that's one of the things that draws me closer to Justin, is because over the years, sometimes your friends change.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I gotta cut this guy off now because
Yeah.
he's not who he once was.
Yeah.
And I've done that a lot.
Me
And I'm
too.
sure you've done it too.
A
Like,
lot, yeah.
I love this guy, or I love this person. This
Yeah.
person's been there for years, but now they're not somebody I like.
No, yeah.
And with Justin, I can't say that. With Justin, it's like I want to be closer to Justin because as the years go by, he gets more calmer, more cooler, more respectful. Like now more people know who he is.
Yeah.
And now, again, like you have the acknowledgement of Finn Balor. So it's like, like who doesn't want to be around that positive energy?
Right. Yeah, I try to be.
Yeah.
Try to spread the positivity.
Yeah. So my next question to you is, some people say fate brings people together for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And this is very pivotal to what I'm about to ask you.
Yeah.
Do you believe that certain friendships in your life, including ours,
Mm-hmm.
were fated? Why or why not? So yeah.
Yeah. I absolutely believe that fate brought me and you together. A lot of people in my life, I believe fate brought me and Finn Balor together.
Mhm.
I keep harping on Finn Balor, but it's the truth, because I feel like every decision I've made in my life, whether it hurt me emotionally, or was emotionally good for me, I feel like fate brought me to where I am today. Because if I never had that conversation with my friend Trevor at work that day about Finn Balor, who knows where I'd be? Who knows? We probably wouldn't know each other,
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't know Henry. I probably wouldn't know, a lot of people.
Exactly.
And I think, like I said, that's why when I said fate was my favorite word, because it means a lot to me. And I feel like everyone has a fate, and it's just how you process it. And that word resilience, how resilient you are through it.
Mhm.
So I feel like, I feel like fate definitely brought me and you together. And good, glad to have you in my life, man, because you've been with me through a lot. So
Appreciate it. And same here, like I
Yeah.
said, especially that, like I said, that 1 year that you and I were both,
yeah,
separated from people that we truly wanted to spend the rest of our lives with, normally you could have went distant and ghost and
Yeah.
handle your healing the way you want to handle it. I could have done the same, but we were actually there for each other.
Yes,
and
we
like you brought up the word checking up on people.
Yeah.
And that's something you did. That's something you did. You checked up on me. I checked up on you.
Yep.
It wasn't easy for us, of course,
Wasn't,
as
no.
men.
Yeah.
Men process breakups very differently from women.
Yeah.
Women usually emotionally check out.
Yeah.
And in that case, I feel like my ex-girlfriend was checked out.
Yeah.
And she was just trying to see like how far we were going to go with it. But women emotionally check out way before a man does. And a man usually stays there sometimes just handling all the broken pieces and
Yeah.
now trying to figure out, like, do I clean up this mess
Yeah.
and throw all those broken pieces into the garbage?
Yeah.
Or do I put them back together and see how I can,
Yeah.
bring this back to life,
Yep.
So, Justin, I got 3 more questions to ask you.
Sure.
And, just thinking about this, like, hopefully someday, I know you're not a writer,
Yeah.
but the Resilience podcast and what happened to me last year definitely got me into writing. As you are aware, I launched a platform last year called the Resilience Tribune.
Yes.
So it's a platform where people share stories about resilience.
Mhm.
Hopefully we could get Justin's story written down
That'd be
and
cool.
talk about fate.
Yeah.
And every month there's a new story from somebody else. Last month we had a very nice story from a gentleman named Carmelo. So I'm not sure who's gonna submit their story this month with us. But Justin, hopefully at some point, like I said. So folks, make sure to follow the Resilience Tribune. Visit our website, resiliencetribune.com. We'll be right here on the bottom of the video here. And my next question to you is, Justin,
Yeah.
was there ever a time you questioned your path or your worth because things weren't working out the way you hoped? And what kept you going?
Absolutely. There was a point where, I wanted to just stop watching wrestling. I wanted to stop going to wrestling shows. Um, but like I said, I know I'm harping on it, but it's
Yeah.
Finn, man. It's always Finn. It always has been Finn. Whether you like Finn Balor, you don't like Finn Balor, I think he's a man. It's always been him because every time I maybe have like thoughts of, you know what, yeah, let's stop going to wrestling shows, delete my Twitter. I've actually recently deleted Facebook. But I think it's going to come down to whether it doesn't. I don't care where Finn Balor wrestles. Just having that friendship with him, that always keeps me going because then I always have to remind myself, it'll sound corny, but what would Finn do in this situation? Will he just give up?
Yeah.
I saw that man freaking get his shoulder dislocated on buckle bomb Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. What did he do? He didn't just stop the match. He popped that arm back in, baby, and won that world title.
Yeah, I remember.
So if Finn Balor can win a world title with a popped back in dislocated shoulder, I can get through anything.
Yeah.
And I actually go back and watch that match when I'm depressed or sad or when I give up and say that he got through that.
He did.
People can say wrestling's fake. That wasn't fake. I mean, popped his arm back in place and won the world title.
Yeah.
So
he was the first ever
Universal Champion. Yeah. They can't take that away from him.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it comes down to. Finn Balor always gets me through it. He helps me. So.
That's good. And on that subject, like speaking about personal stuff, also that relationship that he had, where he took his time, he went away, he meditated, he changed his whole gimmick, he reinvented himself, came back, had a beautiful wedding to the new lady he's with now, and he's been so happy, and I'm happy for him.
I'm happy for him too.
And I remember seeing him in LA, I think for WrestleMania, and I went up to him and I was like, listen, man, like, I'm very happy for you. I'm really happy for you. So, Justin, usually when I have a guest on the show in person, I like to, gift them with something special. So you've been a longtime supporter of everything that I do. So if you don't mind, Justin, I wanted to actually gift you with a resilience jacket.
Oh, hell yeah.
Maybe you could wear it to your next wrestling show. Who knows?
Yeah, I like this. This is nice.
Yeah. So, like I said, when the podcast came out, Justin was one of the first people that I spoke to about the podcast. Like, hey, man, I'm starting up. Because, Justin has his own YouTube show. And I'm going to give you a moment to plug that in a bit.
Yeah.
But, I remember, like I said, when I started the podcast, one of the first people that I had in mind, when I started the podcast, I started it with a partner. And one of the first people I had in mind was like Justin Jones, the Balor Club guy, And I was like, and what are we going to, because I always ask myself, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah.
And it's funny, like Cody says, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
And I said to myself, what am I going to talk to Justin about? Balor Club guy about?
Yeah.
And it's crazy, you can't talk to Justin without mentioning Finn Balor, right?
Yeah.
But, I didn't know fate was going to be part of it.
Yeah.
So, one of my final questions to you is, if you could speak to your younger self,
Mhm.
the one who didn't know what the future would look like,
Yeah.
what would you tell him about fate and holding on?
If I had to speak to my younger self and tell him about fate and holding on, I would tell him it's going to get better. Don't give up. And believe it or not, one day you're going to be friends with Finn Balor. And it's going to be the best, coolest day ever. So that's what I would tell my younger self.
That was good, man. My final question to you is, and this is a question I ask everybody
Okay.
on every episode that I interview someone, because I know this answer is always different.
Mm-hmm.
So Justin, aka Balor Club guy,
Yeah.
thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having
I
me.
appreciate it. I look forward to having you as a guest again at some point in the near
Anytime.
future
Yeah.
when we're celebrating one of our milestones. You know, we just celebrated a year.
Congratulations.
So Justin, you know, I know that, you know, we've never had like a very in-depth conversation about life, aside from some of the small things that happen. But I wanted to ask you, what is your message to the world and why?
What's my message to the world? If I say my message to the world, I would say, just enjoy life, man. And cherish your friends. Love your friends, your family. Just love hard. And hate less, if that makes sense. Because life is what you make it, and life's just worth, man. Life is beautiful. I think who's it, Adam Pearce? He says, "Love somebody today." Love somebody.
One of my favorite quotes.
And that's what I look at that quote every day, and just love somebody, man. Because life's what you make it, and I think life's pretty good. So
Shout out to Adam Pearce on that too.
Shout out to Adam Pearce. Yeah, great
Yeah.
quote. Yeah. So that's what I would tell the world.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I'm glad that you brought that up because it's one of my favorite quotes of all time.
It's a good quote.
As you know, Adam and I both follow each other on Twitter, and whenever I see that quote, I mean, it's pretty much every day he says
Yeah.
it. But like, if I see it, I come across it on Twitter that day, I retweet it automatically. I remember when I went up to him.
Yeah.
This is actually in WrestleMania Los Angeles.
Nice.
He walked up to me and I shook his hand, and I think it was the first time me and him connected face to face.
Yeah.
And the first thing I said to him was, "Adam, love somebody today."
Yeah.
And he grabbed me, he hugged me. He was like, "Every day."
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
So, you know, Justin, again, thanks for being
having
on
me,
this
man.
podcast.
Yeah.
Before we go, Justin, where can people follow you?
Oh, you can follow me on Twitter at The Balor Club Guy on Twitter. Instagram, The Balor Club Guy. I also have a podcast on YouTube, The Balor Club Guys Podcast on YouTube. And can I do a quick plug?
Of course.
I have a new podcast coming out.
Ooh.
Breaking news.
Breaking
podcast.
news.
So myself, The Balor Club Guy, that CM Punk guy, Henry, and our good friend Beast.
Wow.
Beast the Goat. We
Look
have
at
a
that.
new podcast.
Breaking news indeed.
It's called the Bell to Bell Banter Pro Wrestling Podcast. So follow that on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter. And it's basically we banter a lot about pro
So
wrestling.
folks, all the handles are right here on the bottom.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Justin.
Thank you.
Wow, man. I
you,
didn't
sir.
see that coming.
Yes. Breaking news. Little bombshell.
Wow. I can't wait to hear this. You know,
It's
hear
gonna
you
be
guys
fun.
speak.
Now,
Especially Henry, because
Yeah.
I love Henry. Man.
I will say
Henry's very animated.
Yeah, I will say it's a very animated podcast.
What are you guys going to talk about on the podcast, if you don't mind me asking?
We just did our debut episode, the Night of Champions review.
Wow,
So
look at that.
we're gonna do like predictions and
Okay.
reviews and recaps, and it's like a fun podcast. Yeah.
Wow. So folks, you heard it here first. The new podcast,
Yep.
new venture that Justin has under his belt with his friends Henry and Beast.
Yep.
You heard it here first in the Resilient Podcast.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
Breaking news.
Justin.
Thank you.
All right. So that's it. And again, Justin, thanks for being part of the Resilient Podcast today.
Thank you.
And
Thanks for having me.
I look forward to many more WWE events
Yes.
with you. And not just WWE events, because we're friends outside of the
Yep.
WWE, but I look forward to many more like Terramana toasts with you. And I wish I would have known.
Yeah.
I would have had a bottle of Terramana here.
It's okay.
And we would have had it, but we definitely could have a Terramana toast at some point.
Sounds
All
good.
right. So guys, this concludes episode 36 of the Resilient Podcast, and I'll see you guys then. But for now, on behalf of Justin, make sure that you love each other,
Yep.
always remain resilient, and for now, peace.